Live from the pitch pad in New York City. Get ready to unleash your inner entrepreneur with Pitch Live with Amy Summers. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just dipping your toes into the Shark Tank, this is the place to be to discover how to turn your pitch into reality. Fasten your seatbelts, pitch stars, because the spotlight is on you and we are about to make success happen. On this episode of Pitch Live,
we produced Breaking Pickleball partially with a tax credit from the state of Arizona Film Commission. So they helped us cover a lot of that cost. So it's like, oh, the state of Arizona is going to help us pay for our marketing? Cool. And they did approve Breaking Pickleball Part 2.
And we just felt like we were kind of forcing the idea of another Breaking Pickleball. So right before the Make America Healthy Again and like all of the health movement that's going on right now, it just kind of popped into my head, like, what if we pivoted and did Breaking Big Food instead?
Get ready for Pitch Live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Pitch Live. I'm your host, Amy Summers, founder and president of Pitch Publicity and Inisi Vox. I'm also a hardworking entrepreneur who's passionate about helping you reach success in any area of your life. And I know that is possible after decades of experience in perfecting the pitch and enhancing communication skills, which is why I'm here today and joined by Ashley Leroux and Patrick Sullivan, who are not only brilliant and successful entrepreneurs, but talented artists as well. I've had the privilege of knowing them personally through our work in the natural products industry. And before I jump into this really big bio of theirs, I'm going to throw them a curveball because they like curveballs.
We do.
Like Patrick's shirt says, it's fun to feel good. So I have a little feel good fire round for you all. And I just want people to kind of get a feel for you before I kind of give them all the details.
Let's do it.
But I've never done this with two people before. So I have, I'm going to direct my questions to each of you. And don't think about it. I'm going to just give you two options. You pick the one that pops in your head first. And if you are watching us on YouTube, you will see that their dog Monk is paying attention to this fire round like nobody's business. So
he loves a good podcast.
He may look like he's sleeping, but he's just listening intently.
Mm-hmm.
We have no fire round questions for Monk. So just relax, Monk. Here we go. Patrick, pickleball or tennis?
Pickleball.
Ashley, sun or snow?
Sun.
Patrick, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Ashley, magnesium or potassium?
Magnesium.
Okay. Patrick, paper towels or toilet paper?
Paper towels.
You went with paper towels? I can't believe it.
I mean, I use them more, don't I?
I don't know. Let's not get into it.
Ashley, guitar or drums?
Guitar.
Okay. All right. Well, from the moment I met Ashley and Patrick, I knew they were something special. Total power couple energy. They are also more than smart business people. They are also talented musicians. I've even had them perform at the very first event my company, Pitch Publicity, sponsored at the MBJ Summit. And of course, they stole the show. Ashley and Patrick, as many of us lovingly call them Pashly, are the dynamic duo behind Jigsaw Health, known for their feel-good magnesium and potassium electrolyte powders. And they're also full-on pickleball fanatics, if you couldn't tell from Patrick's response. And they built the Orchard at Jigsaw Health. It's the first indoor pickleball event venue in Scottsdale, Arizona. They also launched the Arizona Pro Pickleball League, and they produced the Amazon Prime documentary Breaking Pickleball. Now they're taking on their production skills to the next level, and they're currently producing a new documentary called Breaking Big Food, How the American Food System Went Rotten and How It's Being Revived. And speaking of the food industry, they've also recently opened a stunning new coffee spot in Scottsdale called Firefly Organic Coffee and Market. So welcome, Ashley and Patrick. Basically, everything you touch seems to turn to good energy. And as they say at Jigsaw Health, it's fun to feel good. So I'm glad you wore the shirt, Patrick, so that I would have a cue card for that one.
For sure, for sure. And Amy, it's such a delight to finally get to be on your podcast. We probably met 9 years ago and we've been friends ever since. So, big fan of
Yeah.
what you are doing for your clients and to make the world a better place. We're happy to be here with you.
Absolutely. And, you are both MSH kind of people, which is why you are here on the podcast. And when we're in company, we say make success happen, but it's really make shit happen. And I'm really surprised you didn't pick the toilet paper, Patrick, because it seems to be like your marketing go-to.
I would like to overrule that. Sometimes Patrick doesn't know what he wants, and I have to help. So I think it's
Was the toilet paper idea your idea? Was that your marketing idea?
Gosh. Folks at home, what Amy is referencing is a marketing gimmick that we did probably 15 plus years ago, maybe even longer, that we printed on rolls of toilet paper. Jigsaw Mag SRT, finally a magnesium supplement that won't cause diarrhea. We shit you not. And yeah, that gimmick we're still using today at all the doctor trade shows that we visit, and it definitely gives a double take for people walking by. They're like, "Wait a second, why do you have toilet paper on the table?"
It's
I
it's
can't get
memorable.
enough.
But I mean, more than it being at your booth, I kind of recall you putting it in the bathrooms without paying for any type of sponsorship. You just stuck it in there.
That was one of those ask for forgiveness instead of permission moves.
And,
Very effective.
and we would like to apologize because it's only single ply.
Yeah. Well, that reinforces the idea, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So all right. So let's go back to the beginning. I mean, you're a happily married, successful couple now, but I want to go all the way back to when you first got married. Did you join forces at the very beginning, or did it take time to kind of join up professionally? What was happening in the beginning?
We did have separate careers in the beginning. Our first way of joining forces was when we started a cover band together. So we were, musicians, and we decided to do that as kind of like our side gig. But we really enjoyed working together. And it wasn't until 2016 that we ended up working together at Jigsaw Health. Patrick said, "Hey, I think I'd like to recruit you." And I said, "Well, that's dangerous because, what if it doesn't work out? A lot of couples don't get along if they start working together." And he said, "That's a risk I'm willing to take." And I agreed. And I'm really glad that I did because it's been a really fun ride.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because it is risky and it doesn't always work for everybody. Are there times that you feel like it gets messy working together and living together? Are there any times that it's really hard to have the overlap between work and home?
I mean, over the course of almost 10 years of working together, the work itself has gotten messy from time to time and challenging. But thankfully, I mean, we really are soulmates and we've been able to always work together. And I can't think of any time that we were like, I think we should go through door number one. And you were like, I think we should go through door number two. I mean, we always figure out a compromise
Yeah, I feel like our conflict
or an
resolution
agreement, maybe. Yeah.
we just have a way of kind of working through issues together as a team versus like we have separate stances on things. We definitely don't agree on everything all the time, but we kind of each make our case and then, may the best one win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it, can you give us an example? Like, is there something you definitely go to when you're kind of feeling like this friction, like where your points aren't being heard or?
I feel like our go-to is let's go on a walk and talk about this because movement is truly where we seem to resolve not only our the issues at hand, but also that's where our creativity comes from.
Mm,
Just being
I like
outside.
that. I get a lot of ideas on walks. I'm glad I have a dog that who is big muscle, big dog that I can get out there and walk because I agree. I feel like, if it's not the bath or the shower,
Yeah.
it's the walk that
Yeah.
you're getting the ideas.
And what's funny about that is it's the relaxation element. You're like out of your head, you're like in a relaxation place so that you can maybe be out of fight or flight for a second and actually get some intuition to come through.
What advice would you have for other couples that might be thinking about going into business together? What would you tell them that they need to be prepared for?
Hmm.
I, I I think that Ashley and I work together very similar to how we work with everyone else on our team, which is, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but like respectfully and with candor and listening and, hey, I really want to share this idea, or I really want to hear your idea. I would say maybe one of the best techniques that we've added is that before we say any idea, we just start with, okay, this might be a bad idea,
Yeah.
but hear me out. And it kind of changes like the temperature of the room to be a little softer and a little bit more open, and the expectations are a little bit lower.
I like that. I like kind of just deflating it a little bit, so it doesn't sound like you're pitching it so hard to your partner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it also has an element of improvisational comedy where it's yes and you just kind of say yes and to everything. And one of the challenges for me, my brain tends to go to the skeptical side of like, well, here's why it won't work. But I specifically turn that part off for a little bit when we're in an ideation session and it's just yes and what about that? And we find if something starts to really make us laugh, then that's like a good sign of good energy. And after that, we'll have a little bit of a skeptical kind of like, okay, well, why maybe won't work? But we kind of have switched to that space. And it's not that the idea is bad or the person is dumb. It's just let's, think through both sides of this coin.
I like that. Well, it sounds like you have a great working relationship, clearly. You've done many projects together. But Ashley, you did bring up one point that I think a lot of people think about, and that is, as a couple going into business together, you do kind of have all your eggs in one basket. So it can be a little stressful financially. Let's say if, the business goes south or is having a bad year. How do you manage those times? You two must go out and get a bunch of gigs and do, you have a
Well,
side hustle. Do you have to have a side hustle or like what, or is it there a time where you're like, "Okay, you have to go get another job because this isn't working out," or like how do you manage the tough years? I'm sure you've had a tough year or a tough time at
yeah,
this
I mean,
point.
especially in the early days, the side hustle of the band actually was a pretty significant little extra income that helped us quite a bit. And, we were just running lean and it just forced us to get more into the creative space and think about what can we do that's different and outside of the box. We never got to the point where we were like, I think one of us needs to get a different job for more steady income. It was more of a, um, let's just double down here and stay focused. Um,
I like that.
yeah.
Double down, and that might mean cutting the budget somewhere, right? So,
Yep, we've done that plenty of times and, all of the things, move the pieces around a little differently, see how that fits. Ultimately, what we found is every time we leaned into what made us happy and the things that we had fun doing that are truly like who we are is when the business would thrive. And it may not have made sense, to someone that is like crunching the numbers and like, all right, what is your, you know, uh, show me how this actually worked. What was, the conversion rate on this or that? And it's
Yeah.
like some things aren't trackable, but it's the energy around who we are and leaning into that and having fun in our business. And that's the best way that I know how to describe it. But and then every time we were heads down in a spreadsheet trying to figure out if our Facebook ads were working and pulling our hair out is when things weren't going so well.
hmm.
So,
I think too, just even speaking to you both now, I mean, clearly you're both, independently, you're both entrepreneurs. And I think that if you go into business on your own, being an entrepreneur is not that easy. I mean, it sounds very appealing if you've never done it before. Like it sounds like you can make your own hours and you can do whatever you want. But, you know, like you both, I'm also an entrepreneur. So like there's a lot of years I don't take fabulous vacations. I have to put my money into my business or make the most of that business trip because that is my vacation that year. But I think because you both have that mindset and you're both in it together as entrepreneurs, I'm sure that's part of the secret to your success because both people have to be in that frame of mind.
I think looking back on it, it's been both a benefit and a curse that we both worked inside of the same business, because every trip has been kind of a business trip. And when Ashley started almost 10 years ago, the business was $4.5 million in debt and only doing about $4 million a year in revenue. Since then, we've paid off the debt. It took forever. But the business is now quite profitable, and it'll do about 22 million in revenue this year. And all of the last 9, 10 years, the trips that we went on, the walks that we go on has been about the business. And I remember some of those early on. Ashley's like, okay, like last year you said you think it's about 4 more years to pay off the debt, but this year you're saying it's about 4 more years to pay off the debt. Why the heck is that? So yeah, there was some frustration, but thankfully we've had a really fun team, an awesome team at Jigsaw Health to get to work with, to bring our silly creative ideas to life. And as Ashley said, it's like, yeah, on paper, somebody that's maybe a McKinsey consultant would say, I don't understand why making a song about your tagline, it's fun to feel good, is going to turn into, I don't know, understand
Revenue.
what the revenue is or what the ROI is going to be. And we're like, we don't know those numbers either. But when we do things that energize us and energize our team, it's translating into growth. So we're just going to keep doing it.
I like that. And speaking of fun, let's talk a little bit about the pickleball diversion you took. And I remember specifically when you both were really kind of getting into this, and I was even wondering, what are they doing? And everyone in the industry was wondering,
They're
I thought they
crazy.
sold magnesium. Why are they? And wait, why are they building a whole like competitive court and everything? So can you just start with, how did this love affair for pickleball begin, and what kind of sparked the obsession with it?
Well, starting in 2018, we stumbled onto this little sport called pickleball. And Ashley's like, hey, I want to try this. And I'm like, pickleball? What the heck is that? So there we were out on the courts. I played a little bit of tennis growing up. She had never played really any racket sports, but we were having fun hitting the ball over the net. Fast forward about a year later, and we were sponsors at an event in Encinitas, California called Pickle Palooza. Yes, it was a real event. And there we got to meet a number of the top pros of this. Yes, there are pickleball pros, this like burgeoning pro sport. And we realized, like, cramping is a real big problem in pickleball, because unlike tennis, which is played like a tournament is played over the course of several weeks, the whole tournament for pickleball is played in one day. So cramping was like a big deal. And we're like, okay, Jigsaw Health, electrolytes, magnesium, potassium for cramping. Hello, this is like the perfect sport. And to then, nobody had or back in 2019, nobody had really heard of it. Well, we caught that pickleball wave at the absolute like perfect time, because obviously the pandemic, it just exploded virally. The pro sports are now not mainstream by any means, but definitely like on the regular basis, like at most weekends, there's pro pickleball tournaments happening. Jigsaw Health, we still sponsor the number one player in the world, Ben Johns, and it's been a great way of growing our business since then.
It was really fun too once we got into the sport with as Jigsaw Health and we started to make all these really fun commercials, how the pickleball community of addicts, like pickleball addicts, just embraced us with open arms. They were so happy that we were there. They thought our ads were funny. Like it just felt like our tribe. And it was like, oh, that's what they always talk about. Find your tribe in your marketing and in your business. And we had never quite done that before until pickleball.
Yeah, and our ads that we ran weren't like, hey, we've got this electrolyte that'll help you with cramping. It was really inspired by the ESPN This Is Sports Center type ads, where it's like, what odd, absurd thing might happen if Ben Johns came to Jigsaw Health and had to pack boxes for you or something like that. And we made close to 100 of those 30-second commercials with like 8 different pros who we sponsored. And we would run those commercials during the live stream broadcast of pro pickleball events. And all of that kind of led to creating then the Orchard indoor pickleball court, which essentially was like, hey, we could really elevate the pro experience if we brought it from the parks where pro pickleball is being played to an indoor stadium, what I like to call a boutique stadium, that felt more like you were sitting courtside at an NBA game than at a pro pickleball game. And that we launched in 2022, which led to the creation of the local Arizona Pro Pickleball League, which led to filming season 1 of Arizona Pro Pickleball League and turned into Breaking Pickleball documentary.
All right, so let's talk about the orchard a little bit because I haven't been there, but I've seen the pictures and it is absolutely gorgeous what you have built. Now, this is on the same site as Jigsaw Health. Is this the same location as where your company is also located, headquarters?
Correct. Yeah. Jigsaw Health is in one side of the building. The orchard is at the other side of the building.
Now, I mean, to me, it looks like a massive undertaking. It looks expensive. Going back to the the P&L and, does
Uh-huh.
this make sense? I mean, you've had it for how a few years now, right?
3 years.
Has it paid off? Has that idea paid off?
Kind of. And again, this gets to an element of like when you're doing brand building marketing, uh, it's a lot more difficult to measure than a Facebook ad or a Google ad, a direct response ad. So, what we've done over the last several years is kind of look at our total marketing budget as an expense or rather as a percentage of revenue. And that number has gone down from like 6%, 5%, 4% over the past 3 years. Those numbers are close. They're not exactly, I can't remember off the top of my head, but revenue has grown from like 16 million, 18 million, 20 million, and this year we'll do 22 million. So it is having an impact, but we can never measure precisely how much impact it had. To build out the orchard when we opened it in August of 2022, it cost us about $250,000 to transform what was an office, basically 5,000 square feet of office and warehouse space, into what you can see on orchardpickleball.com. There's a bunch of pictures there or on the Orchard Pickleball Instagram page.
Did you have to build a new warehouse?
Well, we kept our warehouse at the other end of the building for all the Jigsaw Health products. And
Okay.
this space, this 5,000 square feet previously had literally just been document storage for a different client. They had shelves and shelves and shelves of document storage in this 5,000 square foot facility. We came in and
Knocked a few
Shredded it?
down.
knocked a few walls down. There you go.
Shredded the paper and
That's right. Get that paper out of here.
But to your
Yeah.
question earlier about, being able to tell, has it paid off? The one thing that we can point to is when we started, marketing and investing in pickleball, we also created a product called Pickleball Cocktail, which is the potassium forward electrolyte drink that we specifically marketed to pickleball. That product has shot up to our top 5. It's in our top 5 bestsellers, and
Number
now it's
two.
like number 2, which is really significant. MAG SRT, or slow release magnesium, has been number 1 since the very beginning. But it was surprising to see Pickleball Cocktail jump up in the ranks like that. So that definitely tells us that something had been working in, the pickleball space.
Right.
well, and it just, again, being entrepreneurs, you got to take those risks because if you don't take those risks, you don't get the rewards.
Right.
Yeah.
And watching what you have done in the time that I've known you, I mean, to me, I think what Jigsaw Health has done, it's a huge marketing case study. And it feels like an ongoing marketing case study because it doesn't seem to ever end. But I definitely think it's worthy of textbooks, marketing textbooks one day. What you've done has been pretty amazing. I want to get into the documentary now, Breaking Pickleball, because I wanted to know first, is this idea for the documentary, did it come before or after the orchard was built?
It was after Ashley and I had watched the documentary series Welcome to Wrexham, and we were just loved that documentary. It's Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElvaney by like this soccer club that's in one of the lower leagues. And if you haven't seen it, I mean, it's fantastic. And so I said on camera to the documentary crew, I was like, well, the reason that we hired you guys is because even if we absolutely crash and burn with the Arizona Pickleball League, we should at least get it on tape because it'll still be a good story.
Yeah, it's really cool because it really is a human story that happens to have pickleball as the medium, but it is a real underdog story. It's these players that want to make their careers out of pickleball. And it's like, it's so important to them to win the Orchard Cup during this series, the league that we ran. And it's really pretty darn good.
Yeah, we're really proud of it.
How many, like, how long did it take to pull together all the content you needed for a full documentary? Was it like how many months, or was it years, or what was it?
It was about a year. We started filming in February of 2022, and we released it basically it's a 6-part docuseries that we released in April of 2023. So a little over a year to finish it. And it was 200 plus hours of footage that, condenses down to about 3 total hours of footage.
And we really couldn't have scripted it better how it ended up turning out. We were like, oh, we got so lucky because documentaries, you cannot script. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
So it was awesome how it
Yeah,
ended.
the way the story unfolds is pretty awesome.
We won't tell everybody because they
No
have to go
spoilers.
watch it on Amazon. But I remember you when you were both kind of starting to campaign to get it accepted on a streaming platform. You're reaching out to all your friends and everybody that you knew to watch it. I think originally you were trying to get it on Netflix. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not.
Yeah.
But can
We
you kind of tell us the process? Because I mean, we always hear about, and you did a very good job of, like, when you start something, start documenting it. Maybe you don't know how you're going to use it, whether it's a documentary film or on social or whatever. But once you had all the content, and I guess you're pulling this together, now you have to find a distributor. What was that process like?
That process was tough. When we released it in April, we did it as a quote private web release. So, sign up with your email address and we'll send you a link to a private YouTube playlist. So in April 2023, there was was that 2024?
2024 is when it
Yeah,
was
April
released, yeah.
2024. Getting my years mixed up. There was about 15,000 people that signed up to watch it. And I'll be honest, that was a lot lower than I was hoping. There's 42 million pickleball players, and some of the partners that we worked with said they were going to do some big blast emails, and they had lists that were 500,000 people and stuff like that. So it was actually kind of disappointing that by the end of April, there was about 15,000 people that signed up. But okay, that's the entrepreneurial life. That's what happens. You don't know what's going to happen until you do it. And so a lot of times you have to pivot. So the next thing that we did is we ended up partnering with a production company called Space Mob based in the Midwest. And they had created something called Pickle TV. Well, they also do distribution to Netflix, Amazon. They pitch stuff to there. And so they did try and pitch it. We ended up getting picked up by Amazon, but not in a sense that they bought it from us. They said, yeah, we'll accept it on our platform and then we'll do a rev share of advertising revenue. So to date, I think there's been 43,000 hours of Breaking Pickleball watched on the Amazon Prime Video platform. And that's over the course of 9 months or so, because it was like September 2024 through wherever we are now. And so the big question is, okay, 43,000 minutes is
that good?
or 43,000 hours. Is that a lot? And I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. I know that Amazon does not pay a lot for those 43,000 hours because to date we've made about $2,000 on that. So financially not a lucrative decision. However, really our goal was to use it as a platform for the Orchard, for Jigsaw Health products, which are sort of subtly included. And really it was just like
Subtly and not so subtly.
subtly and not so subtly. Exactly. Right. Exactly. And for us, it felt like, I don't know, our hearts were like led to do this project and to work on with our team together. So I said we hired a documentary crew. Cole Uphouse was the documentarian that we hired, but he then utilized a lot of the Jigsaw Health creative team for extra filming, extra editing, the graphics that were produced. And it is top-notch production quality, and I'm, like, so proud of how it all turned out where you're like, "Wow, like, look at this beautiful thing we made." It was awesome.
Yeah, it is definitely top-notch production quality. I've seen it. I've even seen some of the walks that Patrick and Ashley go on in the documentary.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but, the PR purist in me when I was watching it, I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't told you this yet, but there were times when I was watching it because I was one of the first that when you pass it on to your friends to watch it, I thought, "Ooh, gosh, I don't know if they're gonna get on one of these streaming platforms," because the product placement of the Jigsaw Health products, like, I kinda felt like, "Ooh, that's a little much." So, I mean, I'm very impressed that you did get on Amazon, and I would say, unless you guys are planning on being documentary filmmakers now, really the documentary is not a lot different than sometimes a book or another tool, and books don't always make people millions of dollars, but, they definitely add credibility to what you're doing. They get your message out. They get your message out to a wider audience. So kudos to you for doing that because I think it's really impressive.
Thank you. It's helped us to create some raving fans for sure. Actually, just yesterday, a couple came into the coffee shop and they came in to play for the first time on the courts, and they had the biggest smiles on their faces. They said, "We just finished watching the documentary and it was so good. We're so excited to actually play in here." And we have people reaching out from all over the country saying, like, "Hey, like, can we come there? When we're in Scottsdale, can we come to the Orchard?" And, yeah, albeit it's a small audience, comparatively speaking, but it makes a difference, and to impact someone like that and get their emotion involved, like, it really does make a lasting impression.
It's a niche audience, but I think it's the right audience for you. So
Mhm.
even if it is small, it's like a
Sure.
very targeted audience that you decided to wrap it around. And you've stuck with it too. I think a lot of companies, they have marketing ideas like you originally had the pickleball idea and you're sponsoring, but you guys have taken it to another level. And I think that's a testimony too to just like stick things out, like
Mhm.
I always in PR, I describe it like it's kind of like it's kind of like a marriage. You kind of have to stick with it and keep going and see where it's going to go because you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's not speed dating. So I like that you had the idea of pickleball and you've taken it to all these different levels. I think it's a great, again, like I said, case study for companies looking to attach themselves to something. You've attached yourself to this and you're the king at it.
Yeah, we definitely climbed that mountain, and this might be a good transition to talk about Breaking Big Food because we produced Breaking Pickleball partially with a credit from, like a tax credit from the state of Arizona Film Commission. So
Okay.
they helped us cover a lot of that cost. So it's like, oh, the state of Arizona is going to help us pay for our marketing. Cool. Let's ask them if they wanted to do it again. And they did approve Breaking Pickleball Part 2, but we found a year ago that our hearts weren't really in doing a sequel. We were like, it seems like we've climbed that mountain. And then Ashley, maybe you want to talk about how we had the idea for Breaking Big Food.
Yeah, you just kind of have an intuitive feeling about things when, it feels right and when it's like you feel like you're kind of forcing it. And we just felt like we were kind of forcing the idea of another breaking pickleball. So we did decide to make a big pivot. It was right around the time that, I mean, right before the Make America Healthy Again and like all of the health movement that's going on right now. Um, and being passionate about food, nutrients, health, uh, it just kind of popped into my head like, what if we pivoted and did breaking big food instead? We have the crew, we have the connections in the health space. It makes it an obvious fit because Jigsaw Health, finding the pieces to your health puzzle, I mean, it totally fits. You don't have to explain it. Um, and we're super passionate about it. So that could just be a fun pivot. And so that's what we decided to do.
All right. So currently, as we're recording this, is it still in production stage or what stage is it in?
We have a little bit of filming left to go, but most of the work has been edited and filmed. The subtitle is How the American Food System Went Rotten. and how it's being revived. And the log line is really 40 years ago, big tobacco took over the food system in America. And now an army of Davids is fighting to take it back.
Now, this seems like a much broader topic, right? It's a much bigger health topic. It goes way beyond magnesium and cramps and specific health issues that your products address. It tackles the much bigger issue. Again, going back to your marketing perspective, your entrepreneurial perspective, how does this benefit your company, or are we just doing it is this a PR move?
Well, as my sister described it when she heard it, she goes, "Oh, this is basically like influencer marketing on steroids." And yes, it is. We're hopeful that distribution, we can get a Netflix to say yes this time, and get a very broad viewership reach. One of the stars of the documentary is a gentleman named Callie Means, who is currently kind of a right hand man for RFK and helping. He's a former lobbyist, although maybe he's almost kind of a lobbyist again, but he used to work for pharmaceutical companies and food companies and kind of was in the room with some of these backdoor deals of like, okay, Coke is going to pay $1 million to the American Diabetes Association to say that sugar isn't that bad for you. Right. So those kinds of things that have been happening for 40 years, he is exposing in the film. That's how the American food system went rotten. And then places like a number of local places here, we focused on Arizona because of course we live here. Places like Inspire Farms, Good Living Greens, Arizona grass-fed beef, the Firefly Organic Coffee and Market that we're opening. Those are sort of the army of Davids that are basically providing better, healthier, nutritious food to people in the community to give them those options. And I believe from sort of a economic standpoint that the more desire there is for farm fresh eggs, the more farm fresh eggs there will be. It's kind of that simple. But there's a number of pieces in between there. So we're really excited for the possibility of what this will do for Jigsaw Health in terms of, I mean, Jigsaw Health again is kind of subtly in there. Firefly is subtly in there. And it's kind of like also we just like tackling these projects. We like climbing these mountains.
I mean, it feels like we're being called to it, right? And you can't always explain or make sense of it. But to ignore the calling is not something that we do.
Yeah.
So we feel like it's just to help educate people, to inspire them to do better for themselves. It's got to start somewhere. And so when people like us have the opportunity to create something that can reach people and help make a difference, we figure why not do it?
I like that, listening to your calling. And, business is not always just about selling shit and making money. Like you are in the business of health. So you are trying to improve people's lives
Yeah.
in any way that you've built a platform. So any way that you can do that. This is your second documentary. So, and this is the Pitch Live show. So I'm just curious, what did you learn from pitching that first pickleball documentary? Now that you will have to pitch this documentary to Netflix, what have you learned that you will do differently on this round?
I think we already did it. It's that a lot of it for Netflix, it comes down to the total addressable market. So for them, they felt like breaking pickleball was just too niche and they
Really?
didn't feel like the addressable market was big enough.
Mhm.
Food in America is a gigantic total addressable market. So we're hopeful that just the subject matter naturally will lend itself to that. We don't have any stars per se in the documentary, so that's kind of a flag against us. But I think the production quality, the story overall, the physical journey will be inspiring. And there's a lot of doom out there. We really feel like our mission is to bring inspiring content into the world.
And we do have a number of influencers in the film that we do feel like we can count on them to help us spread the word, to just make it a grassroots kind of effort outside of a larger streaming platform. But I think this time we don't have anyone like we had Space Mob representing us for the pickleball. This time, I think we're just going to take our trailer, go to various websites for different streaming platforms, and just submit it and
Mhm.
say, hey, this is what we made. Are you interested? And we're just going to blast it and just see what sticks. For now, that's the plan.
Right, not go to one that you really want, like, just go to everybody
Let's
and see
just
what
see where
happens.
it lands, it'll
I
Maybe
land
like that
where it's
too.
supposed to land.
You
that's
increase your odds and, you're not I think sometimes that, we have in our head, like, we want this one publisher, this one streaming service, or this one manager that, and, like, we focus on that so much waiting to get a response. There's just something, like, cosmically that happens when you go out to everybody, and sometimes it surprises you who responds, and sometimes it kinda brings the person you want to you too, I
Yeah.
think. So I think that's a smart move.
Yeah, we're right in the process of that right now because the editing is sort of complete enough. We have a really great trailer. I think it's great. We've got the first 2 minutes of the film locked in. I think it's great too.
Are we allowed to have her link to the trailer in this?
Yeah, I think we should be able to. Why
That'd be
not?
fun. It's like
Yeah, that would
not
be
been really
It's
publicly
not.
released.
Yeah, yeah. As of our recording, it hasn't been released to the public. But yeah, we can
okay. Well,
put it in
maybe
the
by
show
the time
notes.
maybe this time it goes really live, we'll be able to see it. Um All right. Well, as we're wrapping up a little bit here, we talk a lot about mentorship on this show, and I'm just very curious if there have been anybody specifically, since we have been talking about the industry, the health industry, has there been any mentors along the way that have specifically opened doors for Jigsaw Health? I know that this is a family business too, so has it been your family? Has it been others that have kinda helped out, and who would that be?
Well, I mean, there have been many mentors and many allies along the way. One stands out in particular as being sort of the penultimate North Star for us, and that's Roy H. Williams, with the Wizard of Ads, the creator of Wizard Academy in Austin, Texas. Uh, he has a phrase that we have lived by called win the heart and the mind will follow. The mind will always find ways to justify what the heart has already decided.
I like that.
So basically, when we think about marketing, we think about how can we win hearts? And the documentary fits right in with that, as well as the Funny Fridays and all the other weird stuff that we do that people are like, how are they in business doing this kind of stuff?
That's right. It's not an ad. It's not an ad. Stop, run some ads. We're like, well, when we run ads, they suck.
Yeah, we lose money.
When we write songs, people buy stuff. I don't know. Go figure.
It's like I always say, like, in a social media post, if I have my mom or my dog or both of those individuals, I get so many more likes than if it's just me and, "Hey, here's what I'm doing in my business." No
It's
one
so
cares.
true.
Yeah.
So true.
It must be fun to work with Jigsaw Health. Is there a long waiting list to get, on the team?
There is. Our retention is phenomenal. In 20 years, we've had 3 people quit, and one of those people came back. So, over the course of 20 years, as you can imagine, we have had to ask some people to leave, and go be, successful elsewhere. But no, the people that are on our team, I would guess that the average retention is like 7 years. And we've been around for 20 years, and that goes a lot to efficiency and effectiveness and profitability and just good energy at the office where we're friends. We call it the hashtag Jamily, and that that really has been, I would say, somebody came up with a phrase. I don't know who to credit to, but it's like, they say it's not about it's not about the reward, it's about the journey. And then someone added a additional thing. It's not about the journey, it's about the company.
Mm.
And the company that you have along the journey, the people that you get to do it with, that's the best part.
It definitely looks like you have a good relationship with your team. What would you say that, how would they describe your leadership style, or in what ways would they say that, or in what ways would you describe your leadership style?
Batshit crazy.
um, very outside of the box, very not there's no hierarchy feel about our company. It's like we are all on this team together. Yes, ultimately someone has to make a decision at the end of the day on the hard stuff, but it's like with our team, we want everyone to feel like they have a voice, an opinion, they can bring ideas to the table. They're never stunted in their growth of their career. There are just always new opportunities for them to grow and learn, and just our focus on that is everything, because with happy employees there comes happy customers. So yeah, I feel like it's just that team atmosphere that really makes a difference.
You're in it together.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you both came on the Pitch Life podcast, and we were in it together, and Monk, the dog, slept all the way through.
He
So
did.
What's great is based on your tone, like he can tell like when a meeting is about to start wrapping up.
And he'll get up and jump off.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to wait and see. Does he can you tell that the meeting is about
so
to
maybe
end?
it'll be right about now. But towards the end, I always ask, and you two are the perfect people to ask this question: what's your pitch to our audience right now?
Well, we'd love for you to care about what we're doing. I think if you go to jigsawhealth.com, you'll find things like the It's Fun to Feel Good music video that we recorded about 6 years ago. Yes, that actually is Ashley singing in the video, me playing guitar. Some of the other people in the company are maybe faking it. Maybe Natalie.
We'll see if you can tell.
We'll see if you can tell who's playing for real and who's not. But that might be kind of a fun rabbit hole to start with.
But really, I think when just keeping an eye out for the Breaking Big Food documentary, I know that this is something that our whole industry shares in common, our passion for making people healthier, right? And like the food matters. So just to help us amplify that message would be amazing. And a rising tide floats all boats. So.
That's right. Well, Ashley and Patrick, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you've inspired so many people in your career journey, and that you will continue to do so, because you seem to come up with ideas like by the minute. So I'm always on standby watching what's next. Are they going to they made a coffee shop. It's always something. And I want to encourage everyone to share this episode so we can get the word out about Ashley and Patrick, and also their documentary that will be coming out. And be sure to watch Breaking Pickleball documentary just to get a little preview on Amazon Prime Video. And be on the lookout for their next documentary coming very soon. If you are in the Scottsdale area, go join them at Firefly Organic Coffee and Market. Yes?
Yes, please do.
Up a Joe or something. And be sure to follow Jigsaw Health for all your magnesium, potassium, or just, if you need a good laugh, there's always one there at jigsawhealth.com, where you can also easily find all their social media handles. Thank you again, Ashley and Patrick, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us. This was fun.
Very fun. Thank you, Amy.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Pitch Live with Amy Summers. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and give us a rating or review. Your feedback helps us plan future episodes. I hope you were inspired today to get out there, pitch. And there, Monk is awake. You were right. He heard the voice inflection. As a bonus, join us at amycvox.com, where you can get motivated, hone your communication skills, and binge as much mentorship whenever you need it. The link's going to be in our show notes, along with all of our social media handles. So let's stay connected. And until next time, keep making shit happen. Patrick and Ashley, MSH.
Will do.
MSH indeed.
See you soon.
There's a scourge of chronic disease in the country. Let's just take two of the biggest ones, heart disease and type 2 diabetes. The government says they're not reversible. They're absolutely reversible. The big secret in medicine is that almost every single condition that's shortening and torturing American life actually is reversible through food.
So many of us have been eating so poorly for so long, and some of us unknowingly. You don't think about it being bad for you. I mean, how dare they put stuff in there we shouldn't eat, but they do.
So you don't use any seed oils, right? No. In any of your stuff? No. That's why we love you.
That's the first step, is getting small stores in there instead of the big faceless company, which is probably going to hate us after this.
It really is as simple as eating real food. If you can at least just eat ground beef or eggs, that's still better than ultra-processed food.
See, there's a good one, the milk on the end down there. Just grab it off and squeeze it out. You're not gonna hurt them. There you go. It's harder. That's good. It's fresh. It's fresh milk.
It's really good. Right now is a very exciting time in America. From the top down, you have people like Callie Means doing very important policy work that will drive change. And then from the bottom-up approach, where we're providing at a local level the answer, the clean ingredients, so that people in our community can get easy access to good, clean food.